Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Leadership Toolkit, as you know, your definitive leadership growth podcast. And as with every opportunity, every week, I am able to engage with just absolutely phenomenal people all over the globe from different verticals of business so they can bring to you and talk about their successes, their failures sometimes, and how it was interesting because this person I was speaking to this morning, she said, well, actually, our failures can be successes. So I'd love to get into that some on today's show. Today, I have the absolutely phenomenal Robin Wilson. She's the founder of the SCP agency and Epic BDC and the all new Social Grenade. She's all about social. She comes from the automotive BDC world, works in RV, cycle, power sports, and her motto is the same is lame. So I am very excited to introduce to you today the amazing Robin Wilson. Welcome to the show, Robin.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for taking time out and joining me. And we'll talk about, my background is automotive, so we can easily go down that path. I love to, we love to get into what's your leadership background, sort of what's your startup in business, and just share with people what is the path that you have journeyed down to get to the place that you are now. And we'll get into some great conversation today.
Well, I'll tell you, and for those of you who have already heard my story, I'll condense it as much as possible. But I came from a mortgage banking background, and that I was like literally one of the top mortgage lenders with Wells Fargo, did a ton of mortgages every month. And then I got caught in the 2007, 2008, 2009 mortgage meltdown. It drug on for years, in case people don't know that. Like, we tried regrouping so much. And at that time in my life, I was in my late 40s. And I'm like, I really thought this is where I was going to retire, was in the banking industry. And that didn't come to fruition, right? And like, not only that, like devastated financially as well. My husband and I were in the middle of flipping 4 different houses that were all 4 of them were about between $250,000 and $300,000 each, that we were in the middle of flipping when the housing market just imploded, right? Mm-hmm. And so we were like stuck with all of this real estate we couldn't do anything with, and careers that were going nowhere. And it was just really a very difficult time for us. And at the time I was like, I think I'm like, do I need to go back to school? I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm like 47, 48 years old, and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And so I was working at this company called Jack Henry that does mortgage banking software. They install banking software around the country. And I stopped by this little college on my way home from work one day, just to let go, what courses do you offer? And before I knew it, their person that was in charge of enrollment had me all signed up and ready to start school. So for a period of time, I was commuting an hour to work, an hour home. And then whenever I would get back into town, I would go straight to school, and I would be in school from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. Every night, Monday through Friday. And it was during that time, and I can tell you that I don't know that I specifically learned anything that turned my world around during that time. However, my mind was open at that time. So this was 2012. And I had told my husband that year for Christmas, I said, look, we're only shopping small local this year. Our economy is turning around in the US, and it's turning around because of small business owners. So we're not shopping big box. We're not shopping Walmart. We're not shopping online. We're not doing any of those things. We are only shopping small local. And so that turned out to be so difficult. I wish I could tell you how difficult that was. Most small business owners have, at that time, 2012, have no website. They had no online presence. They didn't have, like, e-commerce was not really a thing yet. And so really kind of figuring out what each store had, which each business had, you just had to open the door and walk inside. And so once we got on the other side of that Christmas 2012, I said, there's got to be a way that we can help these small business owners gain some exposure. And so I'm still commuting an hour every day to work, an hour home. I'm still in school from 6 to 9. And I started my company. I started SCP Agency. We started out as Social Climber Pro. We're all like this cool name, right? And nobody ever got it right. And so we started that while I was still in school. My best friend and I started this business with two other friends of mine as well. And we just started going, look, how can we help small business owners? And at the time, we were doing social media for our church and for our youth group. So we kind of had a concept of how the flow would work as far as providing content, but we hadn't taken it to a business level. So we kind of hashed it all out, and then launched this plan. We didn't have any clients. We didn't have anybody that had said yes yet. So little by little, we started getting small business clients, a little clothing boutique, a shoe store, an insurance agent, a dentist office, a commercial carpet cleaner, all these random different businesses that all had different audiences. And so we started that company in 2013. And then in 2014, a local dealership had called me and asked me to come and talk to them about doing their organic social. And so I went and met with them. I sent them a proposal over. The long and short tug of war back and forth about whether or not I needed to work there or not work there, whether I could do the service without working there. So they finally convinced me that I needed to be at the dealership to do a good job. So that was my first foray into automotive, was in 2014. And I was very lucky. They made me a manager, which meant I get to sit at the table with all of the leadership every week and learn all of the profit centers, the loss issues that they have, any place that generated income that I could help promote social or email wise, or even help with the BDC doing stuff. So I learned automotive from the inside. And then I took this show on the road. About 2 years later, I went to the leadership team and I said, hey, I want to help other dealerships with their organic social and their database mining and all of the things that we can do. But I can't do it if I'm seated in this dealership, every week. And so I offered them 25% of my salary back if they would give me 1 week a month that I didn't have to be there. I would still be doing the job. I just wouldn't be doing it from there. And so they agreed to that. And Q2, I bought the second week back. Q3, I bought the third week back. By the time we got to the end of that year, I had transitioned into a vendor relationship. And now, I had that dealership for over 10 years with that dealership right there, from the time that I was there with them, and even beyond that. So that's kind of my foray into automotive organic social. And it has been, trial by fire. Anybody who does social whatsoever knows that this business changes about every 90 days, which is like the automotive industry ever since 2020. But social has been like that for a long time.
Sure. So I'm curious, when you're saying, I mean, what a colorful background. That's and it's like, it's some of those things that it's like, okay, well, I can see how mortgage lending would fit on the finance side of automotive, but it's so unique to go all the way. It's like you went from here all the way over to an entirely different place. So you were doing all of their marketing,
right?
Or just organic social?
No, so organic and paid social, and then I would do all of their email campaigns for them, and then I would create. I tried to coordinate it. At the time, the things have changed so much now. At the time, I could pull a customer list out of the CRM, load it into Facebook, create an email campaign and a call campaign at the same time with the BDC, and then they would have that congruent messaging going out. It's a little tougher now with all of the different restrictions that have come on Facebook to be able to do stuff like that. However, it was really nice coordinated effort at the time. Let's say that we're at the end of the second week of the month, and we're not on pace to hit our dealer cash for Kia Optimas at the time, right? Like there needed to be so many Kia Optimas sold that month before that dealer cash of $750 per car was going to start rolling in. Then I could go in and pull out of the CRM all of the Kia Forte owners, and maybe even Kia Rio owners, and Kia Optima owners that were over a certain, and I could do a detailed campaign to them. And I could hit them on Facebook, I could hit them an email, and I could hit them on a call campaign to trade in that Forte up to an Optima, and we would hit our dealer cash numbers.
So it's so interesting. One of the things that I picked up on what you said when you were talking about, hey, all of this used to be able to coincide. And then you have these restraints put on you, right? By like Facebook, texting restraints and new rules that have come on board with that and so forth. What is, when you're faced with a challenge like that? Because and there's a couple ways I could go with this question. Because when we're talking from a leadership perspective, like you're at the helm and you say, hey, this thing just came down the pipeline. So first off, going back in time, how important do you think it is? How valuable do you think it is or was to have a congruent message?
Well, I mean, to me, for marketing, I think it is. So I started doing marketing when I was still in the mortgage industry, right? So
Mm,
I so I would go, okay, I need to get more exposure for myself. So in the morning, I would have a radio ad on a certain channel that people would listen to on their drive to work. And then I would have billboards on the highest traffic areas that were in our town, right? So they're listening to the radio, they're seeing my face, and then the radio station would change from 9 to 4, whatever, like most of the radio stations, that if they would play them in an office, like what was
mm,
that one, because that's what I wanted to be on during that time. And then I would switch to different radio on the way home, and then billboards on a different path, right? So I knew that congruent messaging had to happen, like even then. So that was, and mind you, like social media wasn't really a thing. I would be dominating if I were doing this stuff again back in those money days. I won't do that job anymore. I don't pay enough. Back in those money days with this social media, I would be retired already. But
So when
yeah,
you're
the congruency is so important to me. Like that messaging has to be continuous through all of the mediums.
Well, and the reason I'm keying in on that, because I think that's important from like a leadership and management perspective, because you were saying, hey, I learned automotive from the inside out. And I think it's easy in any business, automotive especially,
Mhm.
that you have all of these people that have different thoughts, different ideas. You know, the sales has one idea of marketing and how to sell, and marketing has their own idea, and service has their own idea, and you have all these different things. And so uh, at that time when you're saying, okay, well, I'm bringing this all together, that's just why I wanted to address that, because I think from a leadership standpoint, then you travel up the ladder, you get somebody that's like in a GM role, or someone like yourself, Robin, that is a an owner, a CFO, a CTO, people that are at that top of that organization. What I want people to hear from that, from a leadership perspective, is the messaging is important. It's important to be congruent across the place, because we're all, or across all channels, because we're always dealing with people. The second part of that I want to ask is, when you're faced with that problem, because you have something that's outside of your control, like Facebook comes along and says, yeah, we're not going to let you split that sort of we're not going to let you slice and dice it that sort of way. Or iPhones came along and said, well, you can't share that information anymore. When you're faced with those sort of problems, because you are at the proverbial top of the mountain, so to speak, right? When
Mhm.
you're faced with that, you're in that leadership team. What is your approach to start to solve an issue like that?
Well, the number one thing of that is that, so I want to address one question first before we answer that one.
Sure.
So as long as people understand that sales and marketing are two different things, right? So marketing's job is to create traffic and interest. That's all marketing's job is to do. If my job was to sell all the way through, like that would be a totally different message. Our job is to raise awareness, top of mind awareness, brand imaging, and what are some of the offers that are out there right now. So our job is really just to entice. And then sales's job is to keep that messaging alive in their head, like this is what we're telling the people in the public, and now continue that inside the dealership, and now sell this customer and build that rapport with them. But marketing and sales, marketing is really just to get them to raise an eyebrow and go, who are these people? I'm receiving your message. And so as far as the pivots that happen and how do we handle that on leadership pieces, first of all, the first thing that I had to learn in the middle of throwing a hissy fit because Congress yelled at Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg took away 1 million of our tools that we could work with, and I can be like, oh my gosh. But you know what happened is it happened to everybody at the same time.
Yes.
So we were all on a level playing field. So I could be crying and screaming, and I was like, what am I crying about? Everybody got the dirt knocked out from underneath them. So how are we going to figure this out? What can we pivot? What did they leave us with? And then what does it look like now? And then how do we communicate that to our dealer partners and go, okay, this is how it used to be, and it's not like that anymore. So this is what we're doing to adapt and overcome that. So we may now, because even at that time, we don't do them much anymore, but we would even do email campaigns still for our dealer partners that we were doing organic social for. So then we may go, how can we go heavier email to get some more messaging out there to people that maybe that Facebook is restricting us from targeting with a certain message. And so we just kind of had to adapt and realize that we were all on the same playing field as Digital Airstrike, as any of the other companies that were out there. We all got the same, nobody had special rules. We all had the same crappy rules. And so we just had to readjust inside of there.
So who were the first people you contacted to help overcome that? Was it something that you drove from the inside out? Do you have a circle of people? What was your sort of tactical approach, I guess?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, anytime anything, I have a go-to person that literally I feel like anytime I have a question, I think, I don't know what's going on here and I need some help. I always call Brad Paschal. I don't know if you know Brad, but like, he's my first number one on my list of things I'm going, okay, here's what I'm experiencing. Do you have a connection somewhere here? Because I need to call somebody to get some answers. And Brad's like, hang on, I'm texting you a phone number right now. Okay, thank you. He's my go-to. But generally,
he's the kind of guy that will text you the phone number, but not tell you who you're calling.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah, just call it. Just call it. They got you.
Yeah, he's like, dial it and then chew it up and swallow it because that number can never get out. Yes. So Brad is probably my go-to, but literally it's just being part of different, like I'm a part of different social media communities that don't have anything to do with automotive, right? As we all know, automotive is late to adapt. Technology and anything, you know what I'm saying? Like anything. There are still dealers to this day that have no idea why they need organic social. They're like, what's social? I'm not even on Facebook. Why would I do that? I'm like, okay, just because you're not, cannot discount the 3 billion active monthly users that are. And so I have a group of people social media wise, like when I first started doing this career, I went, knee deep with social media marketing world. Like those were the first conferences we attended with social media marketing world. And we'd be in San Diego learning from the best and learning from Gary Vee, learning from Amy, learning from all of them. And so then I stay in those groups and go, okay, who's experiencing what in here? And it doesn't necessarily have to be automotive. It has to be because they may be working in the real estate community, right? And any of those special categories are, one of the special categories is on housing, right? So the real estate community was also hit by that because they couldn't target if they were doing anything about housing, employment, credit, or politics. We were limited on the things that we could do, right? So we have the special ad category for doing ads. And so really just reaching out to those verticals that are like us, that were hindered by the changes and going, how are you adapting? That's kind of it, is just keeping that pool of people who are battling the same things as you, whether they're in automotive or not.
And I think that's fantastic. I always like to sort of reframe and make sure that I'm hearing the thing properly. Because I respect to you, Robin, like I learn so much when I'm having these conversations with people. And I hope, and then I know that my audience does as well. But two things that I really picked up on there is, one, you have a go-to person. Like we all have to, so often there are people that get into leadership roles and we think we're expected to have all the answers, right? Oh, well, I'll just go to this person. And so we have that, it's sort of framed up that way. And we're type A personalities. So we take on that mantle, right? We go, okay, yeah, I'll find that. I love the fact that you brought up, and I know you have more than one because you've said, hey, based on who you surround yourself with, but you have a go-to person. And so somebody that is in a strong leadership role has to be willing to, and what I've said in previous shows is you got to be willing to bruise your ego a little bit and ask that question. Hey, I need this help. Now tell me what it is. And we both joke about Brad. I know Brad through social. I think he and I may have talked once at a conference. I don't know him on a level that you do, but I know him well enough. That's why we can joke and say, oh, he's sending you this and not telling who. The second thing I picked up on, and you didn't say this in so many words, but I think this is very, very powerful. And I want people to hear this. And this is one of those things that folks should write down, especially if you're, listening on the podcast and so forth, go back and listen to this. You're deliberate in seeking out new learning and teaching. So you're saying, like, social media marketing world, which I'm familiar with, I've been to, it is not automotive. Vid Summit. I went to Vid Summit several years ago because I have friends.
I'm jealous. I haven't been yet and I want to go so bad.
Oh, I love it. That Vid Summit is my favorite conference of anything. Automotive has a conference every weekend, sometimes over the summer and that kind of stuff. But to get out of that,
Think media is like I like that. I consume all the time.
Oh yeah, Sean's amazing.
Oh yeah.
So So I love the fact, and people need to take note of that. Find yourself a go-to person or go-to people that you can allow yourself to be real and vulnerable with and say, hey, I need these answers. Second is you got to be deliberate in literally going outside. It's not just, oh, hey, because I do think there's some power in, okay, I can go Google it or I can go YouTube it and I can watch a video. It is not the same to watch a video of what took place at Social Media Marketing World as it
Mhm.
is to go in real life and connect with people at a conference like that. Would you agree with that, Robin?
Oh, absolutely. And to have the organic conversations with people and go, this is what I'm experiencing. They're like, oh my God, you need to talk to this person over here. And then although you can watch the sessions, if you buy that, you can
Sure.
watch the sessions, but as we all know, the important things happen. And I don't drink, but they happen at the bar or at the dinner or hanging in the hallways. Those are the important conversations that happen because then you get to actually reveal what you're struggling with. And then somebody directs you to go, oh my gosh, I had the same problem. And this is how we solved it. Or I was exactly where you were at last year. And now we're at XYZ. And this is why.
Yeah, I remember to this day, and I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but we'd come off of it was a conference attached to a 20 group, and we were sitting in the back of a restaurant. And when I was learning BDC, this is probably 2010, 2011, and I was learning to BDC, right?
Mm.
And for those that don't know, like we're talking back and forth. I realize it's automotive terms. BDC is Business Development Center,
So
right? Or we
call center for
call
car.
center, yeah. And so I remember sitting at this back, one of those kind of U-shaped tables, and the guy's drawing out like the whole BDC plan on a napkin, right? And I probably still have it around here somewhere. It's like, that's the best notes ever. While we're talking this, I want to take a moment out, especially for people that may be listening, because I've flashed this stuff on the screen a few times. But if you're tuned in on the audio podcast, do make sure and check out, Robin has several businesses, Epic BDC. So it's just Epic, EPICBDC.com. You can check that out. And that's primarily automotive focused BDC, correct?
For sure.
And then SCP Agency, spelled just how it sounds, SCPAGENCY.com. And that's the organic social part of the business. And you said coming soon to the internets near you. Also, you have socialgrenade.com. Socialgrenade.com is, again, just how it sounds. I got it on the, and it's all one word, socialgrenade.com. Can you tell me what is this business that you guys are either launching or have launched?
Robin? Yeah. So this is years and years of pain brought this to life. When I was working in the dealership, whenever I first got started there, one of the things that I started coaching salespeople on in 2014 was creating their own traffic via social media. At the time, I would build them out business pages under the mothership, right? So it would be Roper Kia, and then it'd be Roper Kia Phil, Roper Kia, or Josh at Roper Kia, whatever they'd be. And we were like protecting the dealership at the time. So we'd have them a business page where they could build their business, do whatever. However, I would give them editor access and not admin access. If they decided to go to Toyota, then I would just shut that page down.
Sure.
And so whenever I would be teaching them what they needed to be doing, I would be teaching them that, like, really stop just posting vehicles and sold customers, because the only people that is seeing your crap is your mom and maybe your girlfriend at the time. I don't know. But when I hover over the likes, I know that that's all I'm seeing who's liking it. So I was telling them about the Facebook algorithm and how that people are there to be entertained. They did not come to Facebook to go, I wonder who bought a car today. I don't know. Let me go check Facebook and see if Josh sold a car today. They didn't do it. They were there, looking for cat videos, or, are there some new memes that they could share that they think are hysterical? And then you just happen to have pulled into their feed. So if you're not being strategic about what you're putting out there, you have no followers, and Facebook has one piece of real estate, right? This is your news feed. They have one piece of real estate, and you're hoping to get in that news feed of the people that you're trying to attract to you. And so to get into that valuable piece of real estate, that news feed, you have to earn your way in. And to earn your way in, you have to entertain me. Okay, you have to either educate me, entertain me, or enlighten me. Those are the 3 E's that you have to do for me, so that I will like, comment, or share your content, so that you've entertained me so that now you've earned the right to now make a post that about a Kia Sorento that maybe I'd be interested in, right? And so I spent years teaching salespeople. When I picked up dealerships from coast to coast, I would go to those dealerships and I would train their salespeople and I would set up their Facebook pages. Then COVID happened and not so much. And then afterwards we had inventory shortage and chip shortages and employee shortages. And so I really kind of walked away from even investing in the sales team at that point. Then when the inventory started turning and the value of pre-owned cars aligned itself back where it should be, and the world started becoming right again, and these salespeople who thought they were salespeople who were just order takers because there was 4 cars on the lot and they sold one. Well, okay, great. You only had 4 to sell. So I had a friend of mine stop by and go, Robin, you remember when you used to train? He used to be a GM. And he's like, you remember when you used to train my salespeople to do social? He goes, I'm out here now training. He was a recruiter and trainer now. He moved out of the out of the dealership space. And he's like, these people need this so much. They need social media again. They need to learn how to do their jobs again. We need to create something for them that we can help them do that. And so I started looking at it. And one of the things that Facebook did in 2023 was they gave you the option on your profile, know the difference between a page and a profile, on your Facebook profile, to upgrade to a professional dashboard. Now, the professional dashboard really took away the need to have a business page at all, because you could now see your analytics. You could boost posts and run ads if you wanted to from your profile. The minute that you flip your Facebook profile to professional mode, it just changes the game for you. And so that move right there, because that was one of the rubs, was getting the salespeople to post to their page and then share to their profile. Like I couldn't, there was a step too many for them. And not that salespeople are unintelligent or that they're lazy. They're not. They just work in a different part of their brain all day long. So I started thinking about this and went, look, okay, if I could create their content for them, I'm not going to post it for them, but if I could create a library of content for them, and then on top of that, give them the path to success for this so that their social would work right, then I can get this all knocked out. But I wanted it to be in an app. So we went to work about a year and 2 months ago is when we started this project. And anybody who thinks this is a fast thing to turn an app, it is not. I started like last September thinking I was going to have it done to deliver at NADA 2024. I don't know if I've said this, but I'm an optimist. That did not happen. However, it's a 3-step process. So I'm trying to solve the problems for the dealership. So just about every guru out there right now is telling the GMs and the dealers, your salespeople need to be generating their own leads. They don't need to just be counting on the BDC and be pounding them all the time. They need to have first-party leads, right? First-party leads meaning their circle of influence. And we used to give them a yellow legal pad and make them write out 100 names and phone numbers, and they needed to pound the phones and call them. But really, all of our contacts are now in social media. So that's where they need to be staying. So if all the gurus are telling them to do it, and then the managers are coming back and telling their sales team, you guys need to be posting to social media at least once a day, but they don't tell them how to do it. Okay. And if you think about the fact that anybody in the car business stays in their analytical brain all day long. They're working numbers. They're finding the right car to go with the needs that this buyer has with their budget. Not to mention that we got to find the one that the lender will approve them on because they're rocking a 540 credit score. And we need to be able to make sure that we've got enough juice in it that we can cover whatever bank fees that we have. They're in their analytical brain all day long. And now we're going, now go paste to social media. Social media is a creative activity. Right. We're asking them to now access their creative brain and make that quantum leap over the divide from their analytical brain over their and then go, yeah, and be magical about it. Post something that somebody will be interested in and they'll make a comment on. And so when I finally understood that part of it, that not that they're lazy, not that they're stupid, not any of those things. It's just they're locked in this portion of their brain. How can I help with that? So the 3-step process is I have an app that has all of the content in there. That has engaging posts in there, has contests in there. It has OEM, their vehicle specific is broken down in there. All of the stuff that they need to make a social media post. They can literally open up the app, click engagement post, select the picture that they want, say post to Facebook, the text is already written for them. They can edit it if they want to, but all of it is done and they hit post to Facebook, right? Call to action is in there, everything. And if I just had that, that would be good. But however, we know that adoption, somebody actually has to open the app and do the thing, right? And they'll forget that they even have it. So we devised a plan that where we have daily text prompts and coaching that goes out to all of the users. So every day they'll get a text that say, hey, today's a great day to go into Social Grenade and grab an engaging post and post to your social media. Remember to comment back to every person that comments on your post and look for those people in there that may be future customers. And then the next day it may say, hey, go out on your lot today and make a walk around video of a third row SUV and post to your social media. So not everything is supposed to be done inside of the app, but every day they get a tip as to what the strategy should look like, right?
Sure.
And so that's step 2 is they get the daily text prompts and coachings. They're part of a Facebook group that has trainings in there all the time as well. And then the third part of it is, okay, great. So I've got Social Grenade. They've got the app. I'm giving them daily text. And then the guy who actually knows all of the people that need to be connected on the app at the dealership gets moved from the Toyota store to the Ford store, and he's no longer there. So we don't have anybody to manage this thing. And why are we paying for it? Nobody's even doing the thing. And I was like, I'm going to solve that also. So we have performance managers as well that come with this program. So twice a month, performance manager sends an email to the GM or the sales manager, whoever their point of contact is, and says, okay, Mr. Dealer, of the 10 salespeople that you currently have that are on Social Grenade, these 6 are killing it. They're doing the thing every day. They're absolutely killing it on social, and you should see a lift in their walk-in traffic. You should be seeing that already, that their numbers are rising. These 3 right here are doing at it, and I'm going to do some coaching with them for them to get better at their consistency at posting. And then this one guy right here hasn't even logged in. So I've already reached out to him, and he and I are going to get on a Zoom on Friday, and I'm going to get him logged in again and walk him through the process. I'll touch base with you in 2 more weeks and let you know what kind of progress we've made. And so I tried to tackle the problem at the salesperson level, at the hey, we've got to remember to do this level, and then at the GM level too, so he doesn't have to worry about managing another piece of software in his arsenal. One of the things that's so important that is so disconnected when we talk about the connected stuff. So think about this. Think about if I decided to post a picture. Let's say that I had an 8-year-old that plays soccer, and I decide to post a picture of her in her soccer uniform. And like, this is Abby. Abby plays for the Joplin Eagles, and she plays XYZ position. Isn't she adorable? I didn't even know I liked soccer. Drop me a picture of your soccer kid down below. Okay. And so everybody loves to share pictures of their kids. So they're going to do it. My feed is going to be full of little soccer kids in their little uniforms because it'll be right in the middle of soccer season. And so that has primed the pump. Okay. So now my Facebook profile is humming because I've asked for them to give me pictures of their kids in the comments down below. Tell me what position they play. Tell me what team they play for, blah, blah, blah. Right. And it'll blow up. I promise you it will. Then the next day you go to, I'm just going to keep using Roper Kia as the example. You go to Roper Kia the next day with maybe 4 or 5 soccer balls with you, right? And you load them into the back of a Kia Sorento or whatever one that you have that has a remote for the back hatch to open. And then you just start your camera videoing, and you open that back hatch and those soccer balls come jumping out, and then you go, wouldn't this be a lot easier to tote your equipment around? I don't know what you're driving right now, but wouldn't this be great? Okay, you created a tribe the day before of soccer moms, probably between the age of 35 and 42. You created them whenever you asked for those soccer pictures, right? And now because you did that, this picture of this Kia Sorento is going to pull into their newsfeed, and the tribe of people that it's targeted to will be the people that played with you the day before. And so you're setting them up, you're giving them what they want, which is to brag on their kids. And now you're giving them what you want, which is for them to see the Kia Sorento full of soccer balls or them bouncing out of the back of it, whatever it is, and go, wouldn't this be easier to get your kids to soccer practice? And so that's strategic organic content. That's putting this piece with this piece and going, okay, we created a tribe today. Now tomorrow we're going to tell the tribe what we think they should be driving. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. Dude, this is, you don't even know. This is like a master class on this stuff. I am so thankful for you sharing that stuff. And I think that applies. And I know your background now is heavily automotive. Mine's automotive. I've been preaching this since I don't even know 2018 because I sit inside a dealership in a BDC, and that's one of the things that I've talked about too. That and video, right? Trying to, and it makes so much sense to me when you're talking about and you're saying, well, here's the thing: people are operating this analytical side all the time. So then we've got to move them to that you have to manage the creativity, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something too, for a couple things. One, from a business viewpoint, any business, anywhere, take note of this. Secondly, certainly automotive viewpoint, right? If you're automotive, I like that is just so cool and so well laid out.
And I've tested it, Mike, so many times.
Sure.
So, like I have salespeople that I'll go that are friends of mine, right? Like they're just my friends, and I'll go and I'll send them a picture, and I'll go, I need you to post this with this copy. I need you to respond back to everyone. And one of them I would talk about famously is a picture I made. I grabbed an image of some beefy guy's arm, and it's all tattooed with these wings. Mm-hmm. And it says, hang on, let me decline this real quick. I don't know why I wasn't on Do Not Disturb. Hang on, I get back to where I can see our faces. There we go. Sorry.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, so I made this beefy picture of this tattooed arm, and it said in like this old Gothic print on there, it said, "Show me your ink." And so if we think about the fact that in the past, probably decade, I think tattoos have become more mainstream, right? Like,
absolutely,
the soccer moms have them, the worship leader at church has one, your grandma has one, everybody does, right? So it's not like back in the day when just bikers had them, right?
There was that stigma.
Yeah. And so now the show me your ink. So I told Phil, I said, drop this. I want you to drop this picture with this text. It says, show me your ink. I'm thinking about getting my first tattoo and I don't know what I want yet. Drop me a picture of your favorite tattoo and tag your tattoo artist in it. And
that is awesome.
Dude, it was like,
I can't even imagine.
Wildfire. Like it was like wildfire, like literally like, and in Joplin population, probably about 50,000 people, but like within about a couple of hours, at least 80 comments on his post, right? And so I just watched it back and forth because I was like, I said, you comment back to everyone. Ooh, I like that one. Oh my gosh, when did you get that? It doesn't matter what you comment back because Facebook doesn't really know the difference between the original poster commenting and you commenting. So like if 20 people commented and I reply back to them, the number is 40. Okay. And once it hits these milestones, Facebook goes, oh my gosh, 20 people have commented on this. I wonder if these people out here would be interested in it. I wonder if these people out here would be interested in it. And then as it hits it keeps getting further and further and further outside of your reach of people. So after we got to about 80, because he posted that in the morning, before he left that day, I said, I need you to go outside and take a picture of your hottest, freshest trade. I want it to be a sexy vehicle. Whatever it is, I want that to be a sexy vehicle. And you're going to put this text in the comment. Just arrived alert, like needs to be like all caps. And then down below, drop me a number below what you think that you could, what your budget could afford for this vehicle. Drop me a number below. It doesn't matter. Just drop me a number. And there were people that, and I didn't even care what they said. There was some guys like $1 a month.
$1, yeah.
Then there's like the 141. I don't care. They're all comments, right? To me, it's all gold. And so then there was two different ladies in there. One of them said, Phil, send me the price of this right now. And he's like, all right, Melissa. And he answered her. And then another lady said, I think I could afford $450 per month. Do you think that's possible? And it was like a 2018 Camaro with 58,000 miles on it.
All Day Motors.
Yeah. He sold that car the next day. That's literally awesome. Sold it the next day. And it's just that we primed the pump, right? Had he primed the pump with the ink tattoo and then put some lame vehicle in there like a Nissan Versa, but a Nissan Versa, it wouldn't be speaking to the tribe of people that he had created. And so you have to kind of go look at the audience of the people who commented on the tattoo and then make some assumptions about them. Who are they? And then go, okay, now I'm going to serve them up what I want them to have. And so within Social Grenade, we try to develop that rhythm of content all the time. So when we're texting them going, today's a great day to do XYZ, whether it's pop a picture of your dog in here or do a cutest dog contest, whatever it is. And now we're going, okay, who are these people? And then what should you post next?
I love this. I love this part of the conversation, Robin. And I want to frame this. I want to frame like 10 things right here, but let me grab a hold of a couple.
Sure.
One, I want people to take note. If you're listening on the podcast or if you're watching in person, one of the coolest things that I see happen as I'm sitting talking to you, Robin, is like we get onto this and obviously Robin runs several very successful businesses. When she starts talking about that thing that she loves, there is an absolute, even the moment I say it, you know exactly where I'm going with this.
For sure.
She's smiling ear to ear. There is passion. Passion fuels really good leaders. Passion fuels businesses. Passion fuels entrepreneurs. So that's one of the things that I want people to take note of and realize when we're talking about this and we're talking about it as the leadership toolkit. What's one of the things in your toolkit? Find what you're passionate about and be able to talk about it, because there is so much power behind that passion.
Mhm.
The second thing that, and you said this several times, that I think is just massive. You've got to find a tribe. It's that old adage, right? Of, well, when you're, and I think we fall into this certainly in automotive, people that fall into it as new leaders, people fall into it as new businesses, where we go, well, what's your product for? And you go, oh my gosh, it's for everybody. And it's like, no, if it's for everybody, then you're not touching specific people.
Right.
You're not connecting with those individuals. It was hilarious when you said, the tattoo, and then he follows up with like a Versa trade. I'm like, that's a whole different tribe you attract, right? That's a different kind of tattoos, so, but I think, people need to realize those two things when we're talking about leadership. One of the things that you sent me, as I do very little talking, even, and you could vouch for this, Robin. Even before I said we try not to talk a lot, because then we get live, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to talk about the thing. But one of the things that you said, I'm a direct communicator, and your leadership style reflects that. You're insistent we work through personal goals and strategically map a plan of attack. And when we go through that, I'm going to repeat that statement. You said and this is what Robin said, she is insistent that they work through personal goals and strategically map a plan of attack.
Mhm.
And that's one of those things that I would love to have that part of the conversation, but to sit and say that versus what you just demonstrated for the last 5 minutes, that's the attack,
Mhm.
right? That's the strategy. You take the time to actually plan ahead. And so that's one of the other things that people need to, or my hope, I shouldn't say people need, you need to get this. My hope is that people hear that, okay, well, it's not just that I'm going out and when we're talking about social, posting willy-nilly. There is an absolute strategic plan. I'm going in, I'm grabbing this thing, I'm going to do this. And part of the reason that it works is because you have someone like a Robin, a trusted, individual, somebody that you can lean on that says, hey, you should do this thing. And there is something to be said if they're further down the path than you, for just accepting that blind trust and saying, okay, I'm going to go do it, because then you get 80 likes and comments and you sell a Camaro the next day. Right.
And you know why Tom Brady was so successful? I think everybody comes to the table with a level of skill or whatever, but one of the things
Sure.
that made that organization so powerful, and I'm not a Tom Brady fan, just so you know. So, however, when he whipped the Chiefs' butt, he came to the huddle every time with 2 plays. And then he would read the defense. And then he would say, okay, based on what they've served us up here, we're going with this play and not that play. And so there was always that backup plan every time going, let's see what rolls out here. Okay, this way, not that way. And that was leadership. Now, whether that's from the play caller, obviously from the management team, from the coaching team, whatever, but that was prepared, right? And so if you think about that as a car salesperson, right? Like, and so I'm going to post to social, but I need like 2 plans. What are my 2 plans? So the first plan is I'm going to entertain Robin, and I'm going to ask for a picture of her little Maltese to be in the thing below. And then the next day, what is the second play on that? What is the second play? There has to be not just a today, but there has to be what's the play, and then you're prepared for it. And it doesn't take a lot of prep. Literally, if before you leave the house in the morning and you look around your garage and go, oh, here's a pile of crap I can take to work today and use for a social media post, it will be really fun, right? even a hockey stick, right? Stock market's going up like a hockey stick, right? And then you're like, going, did your hockey stick fit in the back of your truck? Well, whatever it is, like just think about those things and go, how can I connect this back? And in leadership, when we talk about like goal setting, one thing, Mike, that people are really bad at goal setting, and
Yes.
They're so vague, right? They have these, and so whenever I sit down with my team, if you've seen like a basketball, like when basketball conference and they have the goal tournaments, like who's pitched right here, and then if they win, they go to here, and then if they win, they go to here. So
the bracket set up.
Yeah, the brackets. And so that's how we have that is exactly what our goal setting page looks like. Like I give them a timed, and this row right here has 20 items on it. If you could have, be, or do anything, write it down on this first goal right here, all the way down. And it's timed. They've got like 5 minutes to write that down. I don't care what it is. Braces for myself. My dog needs his ears done. I want a swimming pool. I need to go back to college. I want to pay off debt, whatever those things are. And then we work through them and get specific. So they're like, I want to pay off debt. I'm like, that's not a goal. That's a wish. How much debt do you have that you want to pay off? What is that dollar amount? What's the first one that you want to pay off? That's the most important one that's weighing heavy on your heart. That's the goal. We're going to chunk it all the way down to that thing right there. I want to go back to school. For what? What do you want to be when you grow up? You want to go back to school for what? How many hours does that take? What will that cost? Where will that money come from? All of those things on that each line have a zillion things that go with them. So we have to break it down and go to the most finite thing. What is the thing that we can work on? Then once we get that first row figured out, they're all bracketed, right? So of number 1 and number 2, which one's the most important? Move it to the right. Move it to the right, move it to the right. And then we go down the same thing again, and we move it all the way over till we have 5 on the right-hand side. We've chunked them down. We've moved them all over. Okay, now of these 2 that you moved over, which of these 2 are the most important, like most urgent? They're all important, but most urgent to you right now. When we get the final 5 on the right-hand side, then I go, okay, if we look at these 5 right here, which one of these is a game changer? Meaning, if I accomplish this one, it would affect the most items on this page, all the way to the left. Which one is the game changer? Because that's the one we're going to literally work all the way down to the gravel. And so we find the one that would affect the most, that we know that we can start on. And then we flip the page over and we go, what are the steps that we need to take to accomplish this one thing right here? And then we work on every one of those steps. What's step 1? What's step 2? What's step 3? And so once we can do that, then they've made such a change, and it's not so overwhelming. It's not 20 things. Now we're down to one thing and the steps for the one thing. And then that one thing affects all of the rest of these things. And they're not non-important. They're just like maybe 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, whatever they are. They're still the important things for them. And they have to keep that piece of paper with them wherever they're at. Like they have to address that and look at it daily. Where am I at on the steps of my game changer?
I love that. So the one sort of what I heard you say is you're taking, and I don't know if anyone picked up on this, like, what do you want to have, be, or do, right? What do you want to be, do, have? I think that's a powerful place to start, but it's really unique. I've not heard it laid out that way before, Robin. And so I really appreciate that you're taking essentially 20 wishes and distilling it down to one finite goal that you can actually tackle.
Right.
Is that
yeah,
okay way
absolutely.
to put it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's always the one that would affect the most of the other things. Like I had one kid that was told me, he was like, well, I really want to get my mom out of government housing. And I said, okay, does your mom want to be out of government housing? Like you're making a wish for somebody else? Like, does your mom have any goals? Like, how long has she been in government housing? Like 20 years. I'm like, so it's never been her goal to get out of government housing? I'm saying, like, how about you just be the example? And then instead of these things, like, first of all, you have to be, your bank account has to be full before you can loan money. You can't be loaning money if you're bankrupt. So let's get you solid. You show mom what it looks like to do this thing. And then if she comes and asks you for help and says, I would like to know how you accomplish these things, can you show me how? And then now it becomes a coachable moment for you and your mom.
That's good. I remember a quote one time, I think it was Grant Cardone, that has said, broke people can't help broke people.
Mhm.
And so you take that, you define that broke however you want to. And so I think one of the things you just said is like, hey, you got to have a bank account full if you're going to be out there,
Mhm.
moving people in a direction. We're kind of coming to the tail end here. One thing I want to make sure, Robin is very active on Facebook, and that's one of the places we're connected. You can connect with Robin on Facebook. You can connect with Robin on LinkedIn as well, but I do have the Facebook on the screen. It's facebook.com/Robin, ROBIN .Wilson, WILSON.353. If anybody's watching this, say, hey, I want to connect with Robin on that personal and organic level. That's where they
I'm a
should do
little
it.
snarky, be forewarned.
Hey, that's okay. I love snow. And what's so funny? One of the things that when you and I connected, and I sent you a few messages and said, hey, I've got this Wednesday open. You want to do this and so forth. It's so funny, the message responses and the conversation that we had to talking with you in person. When you were saying like, hey, I'm really direct and so forth, like you are direct to the point. Hey, do you want to go on the show? 100%. Like that's the answer. And I think so often people, that's one thing I definitely would say, even in the short time I admire about you, is it's like, it doesn't take a whole lot of other color commentary. There's the answer. Let's do it. Right.
Right.
And so that's very powerful.
Well, that's my management style though too. So that's just, it's 100%. So if people come to me with a problem, like if any of my managers come to me with a problem, and I've trained them now, because like I would get so much decision fatigue at the end of the day. Like I couldn't even decide if I wanted to eat, let alone what I wanted to eat, because I was out of decisions. I was done. And so I instilled Dan Martell's 1-3-1 rule, right? So now they come to me and they have to tell me their problem. That's one. They have to give me the 3 options that they think that they can solve it with. And then they have to give me the one that they think is the best of the 3. And so they stand at my door. As a matter of fact, they hardly come to my door anymore, because by the time they've worked through the 1-3-1, they've solved their own problem and they don't need me anymore. And so, which is fantastic, because like I'll be in the middle of something, I'm like the app, like for Social Grenade, the app is done. And but people don't understand, having the app done is not the holy grail of it. Now, is the text portion done? Is that, hey, this dealer wants to sign up now. Can he pay? And how will I know he paid? And when he does, how do I get his salespeople? I mean, there's like all this crap in the background.
I'm just curious, are you doing that just on a global, like on a organizational level, or are you doing that on and is it just for, that's just an automotive primarily right now, right?
Today.
Today at the moment, right? But coming soon.
Coming soon, yes. Coming soon is, and please understand that the patent is pending and the trademark is out there. So coming soon, we have 2 more industries that we'll be tackling in 2025 and have them ready to roll. But yeah, so right now it is global. So the dealership would sign up. I mean, ideally, the dealership commits to the monthly recurring of Social Grenade, and it doesn't matter how many salespeople they have; they all get to be housed underneath that. If it were me and I was running a dealership, I would probably AR the salespeople for this, especially if it was a requirement that they be using social. I would AR them for a portion of that. And then if they hit a certain spiff, like they've used Social Grenade like 20 times in a month, they've done what they posted to social 20 times in a month, then I would spiff them back. Yeah, I'd spiff them back for that. And so there's really a no loss for the dealership to do that. We will, once we get this portion of it, because my goal is always to serve the dealers, always. So once we get that all fine-tuned, then we will, like, let's say that your dealership doesn't want to sign up, but you're like, Robin, I really need this. We do have individual plans available. We're just really tackling the dealership level first. And then the rest of it will be easier, like, because then I have to worry about mechanics on the back side of it. Now, if Phil wants to sign up himself, like what link do I give Phil, and does it click through? And like the mechanics on the backside for me have been, I hired a really good person that it was a get, every once in a while someone calls you and goes, hey, like I don't know, we've never met, but we know each other peripherally, and I'm really kind of between companies, and I'd really love to work for you. And I'm like, and then I spend the whole weekend going, how can I use this person? I really want them. They're such a get. And I was really lucky that Shannon came into my life at about the time that we were ready to start trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of Social Grenade. So she has been instrumental in all this, because I'm a visionary. I'm not a details person. I promise you, like I'm in charge of ideas. That's it.
That's one of the, I've said that before. I respect that a lot also, because it's like, look, I'm an idea guy. I give you the ideas. You got to go figure it out, right? Go figure out down the path. And because people will be like, oh my God, that's a great idea. How would you do it? And it's like, that's your job.
I have no idea. Here's
Yeah.
what I think it looks like, but I don't
Yeah.
know what the mechanics are. I don't even know if it's possible. Is it possible? So
So as we come to the tail end here, I would remind everybody, do check out, especially if you're in automotive, check out epicbdc.com. Connect with Robin on Facebook. She's also got scpagency.com, which is the social piece of that, organic social. And then we've talked a lot about Social Grenade, which I think that's phenomenal. I'm thinking about it as you're bringing it up. That's why I asked, is it at a dealership level or an individual? Because I'm like, I could use that on my I would like a personal coach reminding me to do this and that and the other thing when it comes to
I'll hook you up.
speaking and that kind of stuff. So any final thoughts to take us out this afternoon, Robin?
No, we all love the car business, and we've all rode this roller coaster for a while. And it's like, if you can spend your energy trying to figure out a way to solve a problem instead of sell a thing, even if you're selling cars, you're solving a problem. You're solving a transportation issue. You're solving get the kids to school, get the kids to the doctor, get mom to the bank, all of those things. You're solving a problem. If you'll just remember that that's your job and not to move metal, your job is to make people's lives stress-free, more stress-free, and affordable. As long as you head into that as a vendor or as a salesperson, then you're pretty much doing the right thing at the right time.
Absolutely. And I think that goes for any business. Like, what's the problem that you solve and how do you do it? And that's how you, in any vertical of life.
Absolutely.
That's how you can serve others the best. So why don't you hang tight for me for just 1 second? I'm going to take us out. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, that is going to bring us to a close for another episode of the Leadership Toolkit with my new friend, Robin Wilson. Man, what a ton of insight and information. And I can't say thank you enough. There's, like I said, it's like a masterclass on organic social. And then you take the time just to hear and feel her passion and the things that she's sharing, that just exudes leadership. And so it's important. There's a couple of things. One, do me a favor and make sure and share this episode out. Throw some thumbs up on it, share it. Most importantly, if you know somebody that would gain some knowledge, gain some confidence to do more social posting themselves, share this with somebody. Be deliberate and share it with somebody that it will help them grow. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in and join me today. Until we speak next, everybody, stay great. We'll talk soon. See you next Wednesday.